Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in to watch my first tutorial. Today, Devon is going to cover how to cut out a pattern with a rotary cutter and a healing mat. Since I've decided to alter the pattern that I'm going to use for this project, first I take out the pamphlet with the directions and pattern pieces outlined and go through which pieces I need to cut out. As you can see here, I go through and circle the numbers of all the pieces that I need before I go and work with my actual pattern. When I'm cutting out a pattern, I always like to make sure that I have some smooth paper to work with. First, I unfold all of the tissue paper, and then I use my iron to do a quick once-over to make sure that all of the creases are folded out and that all of my pieces are as flat as they should be before I lay them out to be cut. You have a lot of different options to choose between when you're getting rotary cutters. Here are 3 examples of the kinds that I have. This rotary cutter is very simple and low cost. People can use it for paper, or they can use it for fabric. This is my Olfa rotary cutter. I like it a lot. It packs a lot of punch, has very sharp blades. It's sort of the middle ground between the Fiskars brand and the Ginger brand. What you do with this is cut fabric or paper, of course, and it also has the option so you can switch which side the blade is on so you can use it as a lefty or a righty. I'm a righty, of course, so that's where I have my blade. This nice steel rotary cutter that you see here is made by the brand Ginger. If you're an enthusiastic sewer, you've probably seen their scissors and other products in your local store. For this project, I'm using my paper rotary cutter because tissue paper, even though it's very thin, is still not necessarily the best for your nice fabric cutters. Once I've laid out my freshly ironed pattern paper, I put it on top of my healing mat, and then I use my cutter to go through and make very loose cuts so I've got plenty of space to cut out on the lines later. As you can see here, I'm only taking the time to cut out the pieces that I absolutely need for this project. Later, if I have time, I can go back and cut out every single piece so it fits more nicely in the envelope that I store it in, but for now, I just need these. Rotary cutters and healing mats are kind of an expensive combination. Unfortunately, the reason is a normal mat will take the damage from the rotary cutter and not heal itself. You'll end up with a damaged, uneven, scratched up mat, and you won't be able to use it for very long. The good thing about a healing mat is it heals itself, thus the term self-healing mat. You can get them in all kinds of price ranges, from an Olfa to Fiskars to Ginger, all over the board. All of them are going to be a little pricier the bigger they get, but they're definitely worth the investment. Don't leave them in a hot car, don't run your iron on top of them, and you'll be great to go for years to come. There are 2 methods for cutting out patterns, whether you're using scissors or a rotary cutter. But that I'm going to demonstrate, which takes just a little bit longer and a little more effort, is using weights instead of pins. I lay down candles this time because I don't have true weights. If they were a little bit heavier and a little bit smaller, this might work better. You lay it down, saves you time from pinning, cut around the lines, and then you're done. Just slide them off or pin the pattern piece to it and pick it up when you're done. Our second method is kind of cheating. If you have a fabric that you can wash when you're done, this is the way to go. I take some Elmer's spray glue, the temporary kind, and I just lightly spritz it across the back or front of my pattern. I then press it down very gently on top of the fabric so it has a nice grip. This works very, very well if you have single fold fabric. If you do have it folded in half, it still works, but you might want to go in and use a little of the glue between the layers to keep everything together. Once you have it glued down, the pattern's not going anywhere, so you can go in with your rotary cutter, cut that sucker out, and be done in no time. The best part about this is, when you're finished, the pattern peels right off of the fabric. No rips, no tears, no questions asked. When you're rotary cutting, you definitely want to take all the time that you need to get your curves. Straight lines go a lot faster, but curves really require that you pay attention and take your time, make sure that you don't screw up. If you need to do a couple turns, that's fine. It's still a little faster and much smoother than using scissors. As you can see throughout this tutorial, I've had just a little bit of trouble where some pieces are squeaking by with just a few threads caught together a little bit that was missed by my blade. The best way to avoid issues like this is to work with a fresh blade. Unfortunately, I didn't have any brand new blades on hand, or I would have switched them out for this, but as you can see, even with a slightly dull blade, this goes pretty quickly. And there we have it, all of my pattern pieces cut out in record time. Make sure that you know your rotary cutter safety. Do not put your hands in front of the cutter while you are cutting. Pay attention to what you're doing, and always sheath your rotary cutter once you finish. Thank you so much for tuning into my first video tutorial. This is Devon. You can find me at devoncosplay.com or on facebook.com under Devon Cosplay. Make sure that you pass this around, throw my page a like if you want to see more. I've got all the equipment that I need, so I'll be putting up more tutorials as time goes on. If you want to see me do more methods, please drop a comment here or on my page, and I will do my best to make a tutorial for you as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope to see you around again.